Hey, what's up YouTube? This your boy Mr. JRTC3 coming at you with a new deck profile of Madolche's. But before I get into it, I want to say a couple things. First, I'm sorry for not updating a lot. I was sick and a lot of things have been going on, and it's been a lot. But in the meantime of me not updating, I was able to get together a couple pieces for this deck that I'm about to bring to you today. There's still a lot missing from it, but what are you gonna do? But anyway, let's start with the deck profile. Because we run Madolche's, we run 3 copies of Madolche. I'm waiting for the other 2 to come in. She's pretty much your Stratos of the deck. She searches any Madolche monster card, including herself, and when she's destroyed, she returns to the deck. We're running 3 copies of Messenger Lotto, waiting for the last one. He's your he's a Stratos in a way. If he's special summoned and you control a beast type Madolche monster on the field, which is your cat and your dog, then you can add 1 Madolche spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. And normally your search is for Ticket or Chateau. Next, we run 3 Madolche Cruficent. He's pretty much like he's a really big beater in this deck. You can bounce 1 Madolche card you control, meaning spell, trap, monster, anything as long as it's face up. And he'll gain a level and 300 attack points, which is really good with Ticket because you can alright, activate Chateau, activate Ticket, summon Cruficent, bounce Chateau, Ticket's effect goes off, and then you add a Madolche monster from your deck to your hand. And with his effect, he becomes a level 4, 1800 attack, but with Chateau, he becomes a level 4 with 2300. Next, I run 3 copies of Mufwal. He's the Marauding Captain. Although he's normally your main way to bring out Messenger Lotto, he is only 1000 with Chateau though, so that kind of sucks, and he does get run over by everything. But I mean, you need him, so he's not that bad. 1 copy of Madolche Marmalade. She's a recycler, just in case we run out of ways to put our spells and traps in the deck. We just flip her, and she'll put them back in there for us. Personal tech of mine, I run 2 Guardian Iatos. It's Madolche's. You really don't have a graveyard, monster-wise anyway, so Iatos is pretty good. And first turn Iatos is going to make your opponent get rid of something. You drop a 2500 beat stick first turn, they're going to bottomless it, warning it. They're going to do something to get rid of it, which makes the way for Madolche played that way. She doesn't get, whatever. And finally drag, because you keep pretty good hand advantage with Chateau and Ticket and Madolche and stuff like that, so double drag isn't bad. It's like 17 monsters, I believe, so onto the spell. We run triple Chateau. I mean, you have to, it's Madolche's. It's pretty much a pot of Avarice. It shuffles all Madolche's from the graveyard into the deck monsters, and if a Madolche monster would be returned to the deck or grave by a Madolche monster's effect, you can add it to your hand instead. So if you're like Tiramisu, pitch a card, instead of going into the deck, it would jump to your hand. So that's pretty cool. 2 Tickets, still waiting on the last one to come. Tickets, like your wind-up factory, except it doesn't stack, which means in that case it's not that good, but if it did, this deck would be too good. I'm not exactly sure on the wording, but it's like if a Madolche monster you control will be returned to the deck or hand from the field or graveyard by a card effect, then you can add 1 Madolche monster from your deck to your hand. And if you control a fairy type Madolche monster, which is only 2, it's Pudding Cess, which is horrible, I hate her so much, and Tiramisu, then you can special summon the monster instead of adding it to your hand. So like Madolche Ticket, Pudding Cess, and Ultimate Offering make OTKs with Madolche and Cruficent. I do it quite frequently actually, because that's like my favorite play to go for, but whatever. Next, I main deck 3 MSTs because we run a lot of back row, so I don't main heavy. I do side it though, but I main 3 MSTs because Macros Cosmos is a card, Gateway of Dark World is a card, and Solemn Warning is a card, so MST really helps get off those plays. Also, just so you know, with Madolche's, they all have the effect of returning back to the deck if they're destroyed by an opponent's card effect. If you Solemn Warning them, they still get their effect to jump back to the deck. So that's pretty good, especially with Chateau in the field, because I can summon a Madolche and you'll warning her and she'll just go right back to my hand, so I didn't mind this one at all. But you just paid 2,000 life points for nothing. So I main deck 2 Pot of Dualities for consistency. We do kind of special summon a lot in this deck, but not enough to the point where it hurts. Only way it would hurt is if I pot duality and get an Eatos off of it, then I cry. But I mean, it's Yu-Gi-Oh. And then staples, Dark Hole, Book of Moon, and Monster Reborn. Now, this is kind of a toss-up between the Monster Reborn and Mind Control. I'm trying out the Monster Reborn because Eatos does end up, you know, stopping himself from summoning himself, if you understand that, because you have to have empty graveyard, and if an Eatos is in the graveyard, you can't summon an Eatos if you draw it. Also off for Trag, because he becomes problematic if, you know, he gets torrential or something like that. So, I'm testing it out to see how it works. But that's the spell count. It's like 12 or 13, I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a dumb game. Now on to traps. I run double warning. It's kind of hazardous, but I like it because, you know, it's warning. It stops good plays. That's really all I have to say about that. I run 2 road mainly because I don't have a prison. But if I had a prison, I mean an extra one, I probably would still run 2 road because Heavy Storm's a card, and so is Dark Hole. And granted, you'll probably never get 2 roads off. I'd rather have the 2, that way I know I have one instead of only running 1 and then never draw it when I need it. 2 compulses because you can get, you know, tickets effect off of a compulsive your own Madolche card. Plus, it's compulsive. It helps get rid of those stupid Zen mains and, you know, maze strokes and just annoying stuff like that. Then that one Ultimate Offering, that boss card. I do only run Ultimate Offering, mostly because I don't have Palooza, but if I had Palooza, probably still wouldn't run it. But Ultimate Offering's a boss. I think Konami knew what they were doing when they put it to 1. They probably put it to 1 just for this card, because if they didn't, Madolches and Gadgets would be the meta. I lie to you not. If Ultimate Offering sold at 2, Madolches and Gadgets would be the meta so hard. And then the other 1 techs we run, 1 tech torrential, 1 tech bottomless, 1 tech deep prison. These 2 are a toss up. I'm not sure if I want to drop the prison for another bottomless or drop the bottomless for another prison. But regardless, I like the way this just runs, because, you know, torrential kind of backfires on us if we have Madolches. And the bottomless and the deep prison are really just there for like big beat sticks like BLS and some Chaos Dragon players and just stuff that's really hard to get over. That's the main deck. It's 40 even. Onto the extra deck. The only thing missing from it is the Tiramisu's. So 3 Tiramisu's. I'm run 3 because, you know, like I said, bottomless is a card. So people run it. Warning is a card, and I'd hate to only run 2 and then 1 get bottomless and the other get bottomless, and I'm like, okay, now I lose. So 3 I think is the way to go because she's kind of the boss monster of the deck, and, you know, she's necessary. Gemite Pearl, he's a beat stick. Fairy King Albadurch, he's a staple for this deck, I guess you can say, because everything you run is Earth except for, well, in my case, the Eatos and the Drags. Utopia, just because he's beat stick and he protects Muful if we really need him to. The Shockmaster, because when you swarm, you know, you can end up with 2 Tiramisu, Albadurch and a Shockmaster on the field, especially if you've already used Tiramisu's effect and lifted everything. Just call monsters effects and pretty much you win. I call this the monster triangle. Papilloperative, number 50, and Maestroke, because all of them have like the most brokenness effects for generic rank 4s. Because, you know, Maestroke's pretty much a big butt defender who's a Book of Moon. Number 50 pretty much gets rid of like Spirit Reapers, windups and mains and stupid stuff like that. And Papilloperative's like, I become a beat stick. So, you know, I think this is the rank 4 triangle. Once I get them, Abyss Dweller and what's his face, Gaga Cowboy will be added. But Chronot, Silver Mountain, because I don't have, Chronot's in here for Invoker. Leviair, because bottomless is a card. Tempo, because he's a boss. And Zen Mains, because he's a boss. That's the deck. Like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think of it. You know, I think it runs pretty well, but, you know, everyone else has a different opinion. Side deck isn't really much yet. It's just 2 Chevalier as of right now because I don't want to main deck them, and if I do, I'm taking out Eatos. But anyway, that's Madolche's MCGRTC signing out.